welcome to the Kitchen Smith. This is the start of our brand new series, Smith Basics. So this is going to be a new series aimed at anybody who needs a little extra help, needs a little bit more information, or is encountering an ingredient that they've never used before and may need some additional assistance on how to prepare that ingredient perfectly the first time out of the gate. So the Smith Basics series is basically going to be a short little series that we're going to link into the show notes should you need some additional information. So we're going to get started with our first Smith Basics, and I can't wait to share it with you. Alright, so today's recipe sequence is going to be all about quinoa. But before we get started with all of those quinoa recipes, I thought I would start off at the very beginning on how I make quinoa and what works best for me. So we're going to start off by teaching a short little quinoa sequence on the best way I have found to make quinoa. Quinoa is always cooked on a 2-to-1 ratio. So I have 1 cup of rinsed quinoa and 2 cups of liquid, which I'm going to cook in a 3-quart saucepan. Alright, I have the quinoa in our 3-quart saucepan with the 2 cups of liquid. Like I said, it's a 2-to-1 ratio, so I used 1 cup of quinoa for 2 cups of water. Now this will double in size, sometimes maybe even a little bit more, so you can pretty much guarantee that you're going to get about 2 1/4 cups, maybe 2 1/2 cups of cooked quinoa from this specific ratio. So if you need more than that, obviously you're going to move up your quinoa and liquid ratio. If you need less, then you can move down your quinoa and liquid ratio. Today I chose water, and the reason being is that we're doing a whole series of quinoa recipes. So a couple of them need a plain quinoa because it's going to be more of a sweet recipe. But if you are just doing a savory recipe, you could always replace the water with chicken broth or vegetable broth. If you're doing just a sweet recipe, it might be nice to put a little fruit juice in, apple juice, or some other kind of liquid with your water. So when I cook quinoa, I put it in the 3-quart saucepan and I bring it up to a roiling boil first off. So I have this on the highest heat setting on my stove right now. Once it comes to a roiling boil, I'm going to put the lid on and I'm going to turn the heat down so that it stays on a very low simmer. Now on my stove, that's the lowest heat setting. It's a gas stove. So if you have an electric or a conductive stove, you'll know better how to make that work on your own stove. But you want to keep it bubbling at a very low simmer with that lid on. And you're going to time that for 10 minutes. At the end of that 10 minutes, you're just going to turn your stove off, reset your timer for 5 more minutes. Now that 5 minutes with the lid on and no heat allows your quinoa to fully absorb the rest of the liquid and get really fluffy and nice. And it will be absolutely perfect for any recipe that you're going to use it for. You'll know your quinoa is done when you see a little swirly in the quinoa. It kind of has like a little tail because the quinoa expands open. So this quinoa is coming up to a full boil right now. Now when I say full boil, I want the water moving. I want your quinoa bouncing around in that water before you put the lid on and turn it down. Other than that, that's pretty easy. That's the way I make quinoa, and it seems to work out perfectly every single time.